BXB. It's in the game!
Before I came to consoles, I was a massive PC gamer. Be it RTS or strategy, I absolutely loved it. Turn-based, real-time, or anything in between, I was the biggest fan. So when the original XCOM came out, I say the original XCOM, should say the original remake of XCOM came out in 2012 on the consoles and PC. I loved it. It was a fresh breath of air on the consoles, and it was bummed me out when XCOM 2 came to PC with no console release in sight. But finally, it is here, and this is my review. And I am very happy to be playing some more XCOM, and this is a damn fine iteration of it on consoles. Now, XCOM has a simple conceit, and as you watch in the video here, we will be introduced to our new home base. But before that, I've just got back from a mission, and my squad is feeling a bit banged up. Basically, all my guys are injured but one. I've got some promotion to do here. I thought I'd start with this because it gives you a good look at what you'll be seeing a lot in this game, which are your soldiers. And you are going to get really attached to these. Much like you did in the first XCOM game, you are going to have favourites, and it's actually a harder game than the original XCOM game. Even on the easiest settings, you know, you're going to take a hit, you're going to get wounded, and, you know, you're going to have guys who are out for the count for a while. But at the end of a mission, you know, you get your loot and stuff, you get to reevaluate and take some time. And I thought I'd structure this review and show you around your base, which is the Avenger, which is this cool thing, which is this ship now. It's movable around the map, which adds a really interesting level of tactics to the game. And beyond that, you know, you have a similar layout as you did in the last XCOM game, excavating rooms and upgrades and all that kind of stuff. You know, science, tech, engineers. You know, picking your missions. It's pretty similar to what you remember from the previous game, with some, you know, important changes because things are movable. You know, things are really different in XCOM 2. XCOM 2 is set many years after the original XCOM, and guess what, guys? It's not a spoiler to say this because it happens right at the top of the game. We didn't win that war against the aliens. The aliens are now in charge with a puppet government, and we're the resistance. And it's a great conceit that is brilliantly well done with the narrative hooks, with the feeling of desperation. This is a serious world you're in and a serious situation, and it is tough and it is harsh, and you will lose people, and you have to come to terms with loss. And, you know, because your guys are getting wounded and put out, you know, you're often dealing with new recruits in your squads as well, much more than you did in the previous game. Hey, don't get me wrong, you can save scum the hell out of XCOM. You can save between every turn, you can save every day, you can save as much as you want, but it's not really in the spirit of XCOM. Really, the spirit of XCOM is make your decisions, stick with them, good or bad. And, you know, that's all well and good, but sometimes when you lose that favourite soldier, and I have one in mind right now, and when I lost her, I was bummed out and I saved scum. You know, it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something I did. And frankly, I don't regret anything, because she had a cool-ass sword. A bunch of this video is taken from throughout the game. I've tried to avoid story beats and spoilers in here. I think it's clean, but, you know, we're going to get to the meat of the game in a minute. I'm showing you around the Avenger a little bit more here, because it's what you're going to see a lot of the game in here in the command center. As you pick the maps and where you're going and what missions you want to do, you're balancing things to do with this kind of doomsday countdown clock that's hanging over your head constantly. You know, do you want to go for resources? Do you want to go for a mission? Do you want to go back to base to, say, heal up your guys or recruit new guys? It's a lot of balancing. That is XCOM. It is one giant balancing act, and it can be incredibly harrowing at times. But the other part of the game you're going to see a lot more is this bit here, the turn-based combat, in which you will frustratingly fire repeatedly at aliens and miss them. I didn't miss them that time, but boy oh boy, when my guy stood next to him, if he's a new recruit and he fires off his bloody rounds and he doesn't hit with a single shot, it's very, very upsetting. But you just sort of get used to that, you know. As you go through the game, you're going to be upgrading your soldiers' abilities. You're going to be unlocking different abilities from different rooms on the Avenger. You're going to get different guns. They're going to get crazy. You're going to get all kinds of cool upgrades, which I don't want to give too much away. Be it mechanized or psionic or, you know, who knows what else. You know, you've seen a lot of this stuff in the original XCOM remake, but it's really turned up to 11 here in the sequel. There's a kitchen sink approach, but there's some big differences to the main combat elements in XCOM 2. The first one is Concealment. You start, well, not every map, but quite a lot of maps concealed, which means the enemy doesn't know where you are. And what you want to do is set up an ambush against the enemy and get as many of those guys as possible. Now that will involve moving your units around the map carefully not to alert them, setting them up in Overwatch, and then triggering the enemy's combat sort of cycle, which means you can nail them to the wall with as many bullets or explosions or grenades as you can possibly handle, and it's really satisfying when you pull it off. But on the other hand, when the aliens do spot you while you're trying to be stealthy and nail you to the wall, you can find yourself getting wiped real quick. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a harder game than the original XCOM. Most of the environments are utterly destructible, and that works both for and against your guys. And then a new element I found that was pretty much absent in the original XCOM is that a lot of the missions are time sensitive, and by that I mean you'll drop in and you'll have like 8 turns, 12 turns, something like that, to get to an objective, to destroy a target, to protect a target, something like that, to extract with something, and you'll have to do it in that time limit or insta-fail. You know, that's it. Try again, or give up and lose your squad, which means you can't spend as much time as you did in the original game, moving really carefully, going in, doing the short move, going into Overwatch every time, covering yourself. Sometimes you just have to take more risks. But at the same time, you see, that sounds really stressful, but you balance that beautifully with the turn-based nature of the game, which gives you as much time as you want on your turn to think about what you want to do. Examine your options from every angle, pick the right person to do the right thing. So while their difficulty is there, and it is incredibly stressful at times, and hard, and makes you really think about what you're doing because you care about your characters, it's balanced so wonderfully with the turn-based nature of the game. You never feel overwhelmed, but you do often feel guilty. I will often use my rookies as cannon fodder, and that's just the way it is. They're just going to take as many bullets as possible. But I absolutely adore this game. I adore this game. There should be more games like this on consoles. I'm so glad this kind of got a bit of a stealth release and appeared on the Xbox and PS4, because I didn't think it was coming. Firaxis and 2K made a big deal about saying the original XCOM 2 release was PC only. That's where it was developed and that's where it was going to stay because of things like mod support. But I guess, they decided that the porthouse that they could get for this was going to do a good enough job. And it's a beautiful job. The game looks great. I've not talked a lot about some of the technical problems because they don't affect gameplay that much, but weirdly, in loading screens, when you're in the dropship, when you're moving out either out of a mission or into a mission, it drops, the frame rate drops ridiculously low. Like I said, it doesn't affect the gameplay, but it's a really odd problem. Obviously, it's trying to load in something in the background, and it just causes, what they're showing you of the inside of the dropship to look terrible. Everything just stutters, and it becomes almost like single frames. But hey, it's a loading screen. I also had a couple of hard crashes to the dashboard, which wasn't amazing. And I know there were some technical problems with this game on PC, and there still seems to be some technical problems. But you know what? I just don't care. This game is so goddamn good with the story and the setting and the combat and the decisions and how you care about your characters. It's a truly exceptional and almost unique experience to this quality on the PC, on PC and on consoles. And because of that, it's a very easy 5 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.